Hello, you guys. Happy to see you and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before I dive into the topic of today, which is one that I've had so many questions and requests on, I quickly want to ask you guys a question. So I've been having this idea, or I've been wanting to do a series on my YouTube channel where basically I do live coaching sessions. I thought it would be really cool for you guys to learn from each other's experiences, for you to actually learn some coaching techniques, or for you to learn or kind of see what I do. And of course, I understand how delicate it can be. So the coaching sessions would be completely anonymous and they would be free. So if you are interested in ever doing a coaching session for my YouTube channel, it would be a shorter session, like 30 minutes to maximum an hour, instead of my usual sessions, which are an hour long. And I'm only going to pick a few people because I'm only going to do this once a week. But if you are interested, you can just send me a message on WhatsApp. There's a link on my website. I'll put a link to my website in the description that you can click on, and you just send me a message and say, hey, I'm interested in doing a free YouTube coaching session. So you could do it for any topic. It doesn't only have to be DPDR. If you're struggling with something else, like whatever it might be, or you're just interested to do a coaching session with me, it is important that you have sort of a question at hand that you would like to solve in a session, or that you'd like to at least work on. So make sure to mention that. And I'm excited to try this and see how it works. I think you guys would really benefit from being able to see me coach someone else and kind of learn from others' experiences, as in the recovery stories, but then now in a kind of different format. So if you're interested, send me a message, and who knows, we might start a really cool new series on this channel. Oh, and also, I don't know if I mentioned, but it would be anonymous. So I think I mentioned. So you could not do it anonymously if you don't care, but mostly I would prefer, also for your own privacy reasons, that I would not show your side of the screen, so people would just hear your voice. And also, I think I could find a way to edit out your name or something like that, but we can discuss it further depending on your needs. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and hopefully you guys are excited for a new little experiment on this channel. So on the topic of today, I want to talk today about the fear of psychosis or schizophrenia with people that have anxiety or DPDR. It's possible that even me saying these words out loud has already triggered you, which I've seen in so many of my clients. So if that's you, then you're going to have to watch this video, and I promise you, you're going to be okay. So why do so many people that struggle with DPDR or anxiety struggle with the fear of schizophrenia or psychosis, or going crazy, or losing their mind, or even physical things like having a heart attack? The very simple answer is because in your process of struggling with DPDR, you've developed a hyper awareness of how much your body and mind can sometimes feel like they're spiraling out of control. So when you're suddenly having a panic attack, or suddenly getting this DPDR crisis, or suddenly, feeling all this anxiety or having intrusive thoughts, there's a part of you that becomes aware of, oh my God, like my body's capable of changing, my mind is capable of changing, and I don't really always have control over it. And because we're creatures that like control, and also anxiety is a part of us that hates not having it, hates not having control, it kind of goes to the worst case scenario. So it takes this example of DPDR, where you have a sense of not being in control of your body, not being in control of your mind, and it completely catastrophizes it to what is the worst case scenario, with losing control over your own mind or losing control over your body. And the worst case scenario would be, in that case, getting schizophrenia or having psychosis or having a complete mental breakdown and going crazy. And so I think 99% of my clients or people that I've ever talked to with DPDR have had this concern, have had this fear, and have in some way or another felt like they actually were close to it in some sort of way. And I can promise you that I've never had a single client that has gotten schizophrenia or psychosis or has gone crazy. And So the thing you have to realize when this fear comes up, because it can be scary to think that way and it can feel very real to think about what if I go crazy, is because the feeling of derealization or depersonalization is really a feeling of disconnection from yourself. It's a feeling of losing yourself. It's a feeling of losing everything that you once thought you just had, and then just having to kind of realize that you don't have it, like this connection, this effortlessness about your mental health, about life. And so you really become very hyper vigilant to what else could go wrong or what could be that next step further, because I never imagined or never knew that I could feel this in the first place, and now I'm feeling all these feelings. So what could be the next step? So that's one example of why you feel that way. Another really simple way of looking at it is, whatever you're afraid of, you're going to think about. And I would also say that 90% of my clients that have DPDR anxiety, their core fear is in somewhat to do with losing control. And so what does losing control mean? It means losing control of yourself, losing control of your mind. And then you start to have all these fears about psychosis and schizophrenia, because that would be another example of losing control. And your anxiety wants to prepare you or protect you from that worst case scenario. And it thinks the best way to do that is by thinking about it over and over and over again. And so if you struggle with this fear, I want you to understand it's very normal. Everyone struggles with it when they are in some sort of state of fear of losing control. But that doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. It's the same with like if a friend of yours comes to talk to you and says, I'm so afraid of getting struck by lightning. You're not going to say, because you have that fear, the chance that it's going to happen is going to be larger. That's not what it is. It's just you have been exposed to something that makes you feel aware of losing control, makes you feel aware of how fragile sometimes it feels like your mental health can be. And because that awareness is there, now you are projecting it onto other things like other mental health disorders or whatever. So if you do struggle with this fear, what I always tell my clients is when you have that fear come up, try to ask yourself, what is this really about? Because it's not about schizophrenia. It's not about psychosis. You have no sign that any of those things are happening. So what is this really about? And when you ask that question, what you do is instead of focusing on the fear, it's like the content of the fear, you take it to the origin of the fear. And the origin of the fear is, I'm afraid of losing control. I have this fear of schizophrenia. I have this fear of psychosis. I have this fear of losing my mind. And that's what it's about. It's about the fear. It's not about the psychosis. It's not about the schizophrenia. It's about the fear of losing your mind, the fear of losing control. And fear is something you can work with. That's the whole concept of this channel, is fear is something tangible that you can sit with and reassure and go inwards and actually find some sort of comfort or peace with. Now, I'm not going to go into this video exactly how to do that, because that's what the rest of my channel is about. Or I have other resources like my anxiety and DPDR recovery course that you can also go to if you really want to in depth and in detail know how to do that, how to sit with that fear, how to transform that fear. But the most important thing is to realize it is about the fear. It's not about the psychosis. It's not about the schizophrenia. It's about the feeling of fear that you feel. And all that fear needs is to be held. That fear needs to feel like it's not alone, like it's seen, like it's held. Fear, I always say, is like, a big bowl of ice that if you resist the fear and you run away from it, it stays cold and large. But if you actually hold it and sit with it and touch it with your warm skin, the ice starts to melt and become smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you have that fear of losing control, that fear of losing your mind, don't go into the thinking about it or the actual topic of schizophrenia or psychosis, or don't go online looking for videos on it. Don't do any of that. Just go, okay, there's a part of me that is afraid of losing control. What does that part really need? It really needs love. It really needs presence. It really needs someone to just hold its hand and say, I see you. I see that you're scared, but I'm here. And that's how you can transform that fear. It's very powerful. So I hope this video reassured you or helped you a little bit to deal with a specific fear. Just know that you're not alone. I almost expect every single one of my clients that I start working with to kind of bring this up in some sort of way. And I'm always happy to reassure them that they don't have to worry about that. But it is a scary fear to have. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching my videos. I really appreciate you being here and also showing me love and support. So if you want to support me, you can always like this video or leave a comment down below. I never really asked for that. I should probably do it more. And if you are interested in exploring your recovery more deeply and intensely, I'll put some links in the description. I have a DPDR and anxiety recovery course that really goes into depth of how you can fully recover from anxiety, panic attacks, depersonalization, derealization. Very approachable, very easy to use, and I can promise you that there's so many people that have already felt so much better just by doing that alone. But for people that are interested in having more personal guidance, I also offer coaching. I do have a waiting list for coaching, but you can always add your name to the waiting list, and I'd be happy to help you once I have an opening. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye bye.